What is the dichotomy of control? The unexpected detour. Imagine this. You're meticulously planned a road trip. The route is set, the playlist is perfect, and you're buzzing with anticipation. You've even accounted for potential traffic delays, packing extra snacks and water. You're in control, or so you think. You're cruising along singing to your favorite tunes, when suddenly, a detour sign appears. Road closed due to construction. Your meticulously planned schedule is thrown into disarray. Frustration begins to simmer. You might even feel a surge of anger. This wasn't part of the plan, you think, griping the steering wheel. Your chest tightens. Your breathing shallows. What happens next? Do you succumb to the frustration, letting it ruin your entire trip? Do you lash out at the construction workers who are just doing their job? Do you dwell on the unfairness of it all, replaying the scenario in your head, stewing in negativity? Or do you take a deep breath, accept the situation, and calmly find an alternative route? Do you see this unexpected detour not as a disaster, but as a chance for an unplanned adventure, a deviation from the script, a possibility to discover something new and wonderful? This, in essence, is the dichotomy of control. This simple road trip analogy encapsulates one of the most powerful and transformative concepts in Stoic philosophy. It's a concept that has resonated with people for centuries, from Roman emperors to modern-day entrepreneurs, athletes, and anyone seeking a more resilient and fulfilling life. It's about recognizing what we can control and what we can't, and learning to focus our energy and attention on the former while accepting the latter with equanimity. Why is it that two people can face the same adversity, the same challenge, and yet react so differently? Why is it that some people seem to navigate life's inevitable storms with grace and composure, while others are tossed about like a ship without a rudder, overwhelmed by every setback and inconvenience? What is the secret, the hidden key, that allows some to thrive in the face of adversity, while others crumble under its weight? The answer, in large part, lies in understanding and applying the dichotomy of control. It's a simple yet profound concept that can radically shift your perspective, transform your emotional landscape, and empower you to live a life of greater freedom, resilience, and inner peace. It's a concept that can help you navigate the inevitable detours of life with grace and equanimity. 2. Introduction to Stoicism and the Dichotomy of Control. To truly grasp the power of the dichotomy of control, we need to first understand the philosophy from which it springs. Stoicism. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions or becoming an emotionless robot, as some might mistakenly believe. It's not about grimly enduring hardship or passively accepting fate. Rather, Stoicism is a practical philosophy, a way of life, that emphasizes self-control, reason, and virtue as the keys to happiness and fulfillment. It's about cultivating inner peace by understanding what we can and cannot control. Born in ancient Greece around the 3rd century BCE, Stoicism was founded by Zeno of Citium. It flourished in the Roman Empire, counting among its adherents such luminaries as the Emperor Marcus Aurelius, the playwright Seneca, and the former slave Epictetus. These figures, despite their vastly different circumstances, all found wisdom and strength in the principles of Stoicism. At the heart of Stoic philosophy lies the dichotomy of control, a concept most clearly articulated by Epictetus. He famously stated, "Some things are in our control, while others are not." This simple yet profound statement forms the cornerstone of Stoic practice. The dichotomy of control is not merely an observation about the nature of reality. It's a call to action, a guide for living. It urges us to focus our energy and attention on what we can influence, our thoughts, judgments, values, and actions, and to accept with equanimity those things that lie outside our control: external events, other people's behavior, the past, and the future. Why is this distinction so crucial? Because when we waste our time and energy trying to control the uncontrollable, we set ourselves up for disappointment, frustration, and suffering. We become like a dog chasing a car, expending enormous effort but never catching up. We become reactive, driven by external forces, and lose our sense of inner peace and agency. Conversely, when we focus on what we can control, we empower ourselves. We become proactive, centered, and resilient. We cultivate a sense of inner freedom, knowing that our happiness and well-being are not dependent on external circumstances, but rather on our own internal state. We navigate life with greater clarity, purpose, and effectiveness. The dichotomy of control is not just an ancient philosophy. It's a timeless wisdom that remains profoundly relevant to our modern lives. In a world filled with constant change, uncertainty, and external pressures, the ability to distinguish between what we can and cannot control is more important than ever. It's a tool that can help us navigate the complexities of modern life with greater clarity, resilience, and inner peace. It's a key to unlocking our full potential and living a life of purpose and meaning. It's a roadmap to navigate the storms of life. 3. Deep dive into the controllable, the realm of inner power. Let's delve deeper into the first part of the dichotomy, the realm of the controllable. What exactly falls within our sphere of influence? The Stoics identified several key areas. Our thoughts. This is perhaps the most fundamental aspect of what we control. Our thoughts are our own. No one can force us to think a certain way. We have the power to choose our thoughts, to direct our attention, and to cultivate a mindset that serves us. This includes our beliefs, our interpretations, and our internal dialogue. Example. Imagine you receive constructive criticism at work. You can choose to interpret it as a personal attack, leading to feelings of anger and resentment. Or you can choose to see it as valuable feedback, an opportunity to learn and improve. The situation is the same, but your emotional response is entirely determined by your thoughts. Our judgments. Closely related to our thoughts are our judgments. These are the evaluations and assessments we make about the things that happen to us and around us. We have the power to choose how we perceive and interpret events. We can choose to label something as good or bad, fair or unfair, helpful or harmful. Example. You get stuck in a long line at the grocery store. You can judge this as a terrible inconvenience, leading to frustration and impatience. Or you can judge it as an opportunity to practice patience, to observe the people around you, or to simply take a few moments to breathe and relax. Our values. Our values are the principles and beliefs that guide our lives. They are what we hold dear, what we consider important, and what gives our lives meaning and purpose. We have the power to choose our values, to define what matters most to us, and to live in accordance with them. Example. You might value honesty, integrity, and compassion. These values will influence your decisions, your actions, and your relationships. You'll strive to be honest in your dealings with others, to act with integrity in all that you do, and to show compassion to those in need. Our choices. We are constantly faced with choices both big and small. We choose how to spend our time, how to allocate our resources, and how to respond to the situations we encounter. We have the power to make conscious choices that align with our values and contribute to our well-being. Example. You are offered a new job opportunity. You have the power to choose whether to accept it or decline it. You can weigh the pros and cons, consider your values and goals, and make a decision that feels right for you. Our actions. Our actions are the outward expressions of our inner state. They are the things we do, the words we speak, and the way we behave. We have the power to choose our actions, to align them with our values, and to take responsibility for their consequences. Example. You have a disagreement with a friend. You can choose to react with anger and say hurtful things. Or you can choose to respond with calmness and empathy, seeking to understand their perspective and find solution. Our desires. While we cannot always control what we want, we can control our relationship to our desires. We can choose to cultivate healthy desires, to moderate our wants, and to avoid becoming attached to things outside our control. Example. You might desire promotion at work. While you can't force your boss to give you the promotion, you can control your desire for it. You can strive to do your best work, focus on the process, and accept that the final decision is not entirely up to you. Our aversions. Similar to desires, we can't always control what we dislike or fear, but we can control our reactions to those aversions. We can choose to face our fears with courage, to overcome our dislikes, and to avoid letting aversions control our lives. Example. You might have a strong aversion to public speaking. While you can't magically eliminate that aversion, you can control how you respond to it. You can choose to avoid public speaking altogether, limiting your opportunities, or you can choose to confront your fear, practice, and gradually become more comfortable with it. Our impulse to act. Before we act, we experience an impulse. We can control whether or not we act on that impulse. Example. You are driving in traffic and someone cuts you off. You feel an impulse to honk your horn and yell at the other driver. You can choose to act on that impulse, expressing your anger. Or you can choose to control that impulse. Take a deep breath and let it go. How we use information. We are constantly bombarded with information. We can control how we process that information. Example. You read a news article that makes you angry. You can choose to react immediately, sharing it on social media and arguing with others. Or you can choose to take a step back, verify the information, and respond thoughtfully and constructively. Cultivating control in these areas is not about suppressing our emotions or becoming emotionless robots. It's about developing self-awareness, self-discipline, and the ability to respond to situations with reason and wisdom, rather than being driven by our impulses and emotions. It's about recognizing that while we can't control everything that happens to us, we can always control how we respond. 4. Understanding the uncontrollable, accepting the inevitable. Now let's turn our attention to the other side of the dichotomy, the realm of the uncontrollable. This encompasses everything that lies outside our direct influence. It's a vast and varied territory, and understanding its boundaries is crucial for cultivating Stoic equanimity. Here are some key aspects of the uncontrollable. External events. This includes a wide range of occurrences, from natural disasters and accidents to economic downturns and political upheavals. We have no control over whether a hurricane will strike, whether the stock market will crash, or whether a new law will be passed. These events happen independently of our will. Example. Your flight is canceled due to bad weather. You have no control over the weather, the airline's decision, or the resulting delays. You can, however, control how you respond to the situation. Other people's actions. We cannot control what other people do, say, or think. We cannot force them to behave in a certain way, to agree with our opinions, or to meet our expectations. They have their own free will, their own motivations, and their own perspectives. Example. A colleague is rude to you at work. You cannot control their behavior, their words, or their attitude. You can, however, control how you react to their rudeness. The past is immutable. It has already happened, and nothing we do can change it. We cannot undo our mistakes, erase our regrets, or alter the course of history. Dwelling on the past is a futile exercise that can only lead to sorrow and resentment. Example. You made a poor investment decision several years ago that resulted in financial losses. You cannot go back in time and change that decision. You can, however, learn from your mistake and make better decisions in the future. The future. While we can make plans and take actions to influence the future, we cannot control it with certainty. The future is uncertain, filled with possibilities and unknowns. We cannot predict with absolute accuracy what will happen, nor can we guarantee that our plans will come to fruition. Example. You are working hard towards a specific career goal. You can take steps to increase your chances of achieving that goal, such as acquiring new skills and networking with relevant people. However, you cannot control whether you will ultimately achieve it, as many factors beyond your control may come into play. Our body. To a certain extent, while we can influence our health through diet, exercise, and lifestyle choices, we cannot control our genetics, our susceptibility to certain illnesses, or the aging process itself. Our bodies are subject to the laws of nature, and there are limits to what we can control. Example. You develop a chronic illness despite taking good care of your health. You cannot control the illness itself, but you can control how you manage it, how you cope with its symptoms, and how you choose to live your life in spite of it. Our reputation. While we can strive to act with integrity and treat others with respect, we cannot completely control our reputation. Other people will form their own opinions of us based on their own experiences, biases, and perceptions. We cannot force them to think well of us, regardless of our actions. Example. You're falsely accused of something you didn't do. You can defend yourself and try to clear your name, but you cannot control whether people will believe you or continue to hold a negative opinion of you. Natural disasters. We have no control over natural disasters like earthquakes, hurricanes, floods, or wildfires. Example. A hurricane destroys your home. You cannot control the hurricane or the damage it caused. The economy. We cannot control the overall state of the economy, including factors like inflation, interest rates, and unemployment. Example. You lose your job during a recession. You cannot control the recession itself. Trying to control the uncontrollable is not only futile, but also detrimental. It leads to frustration, anxiety, resentment, and a sense of powerlessness. It distracts us from what we can control and prevents us from taking effective action. It's like banging your head against a brick wall. Painful, pointless, and ultimately self-defeating. The Stoics recognized this fundamental truth and urged us to accept the uncontrollable with equanimity. This doesn't mean passively resigning ourselves to fate or becoming indifferent to everything that happens around us. Rather, it means acknowledging the limits of our control, accepting reality as it is, and focusing our energy on what we can influence. It's about finding peace in the midst of chaos, strength in the face of adversity, and freedom from the tyranny of external circumstances. V. The power of perspective. Reframing reality. The dichotomy of control isn't just about categorizing things as controllable or uncontrollable. It's also about cultivating a particular perspective, a way of looking at the world that empowers us to navigate life with greater wisdom and resilience. Our perspective, our mindset, plays a crucial role in how we experience the dichotomy of control. Consider this. Two people experience the same event, a job loss, a relationship breakup, a financial setback. One person sees it as a catastrophe, a sign of failure, a reason to despair. They become consumed by negativity, dwelling on the unfairness of it all, and feeling like a victim of circumstance. The other person, however, sees the same event as a challenge, an opportunity for growth, a chance to learn and move forward. They acknowledge the pain and disappointment, but they don't let it define them. They focus on what they can control, their response, their attitude, their actions, and they emerge from the experience stronger and wiser. What accounts for this difference? It's not the event itself, but rather the perspective, the mindset, with which each person approaches it. The Stoics understood this profoundly and emphasized the importance of reframing situations, of choosing how we interpret and respond to the events in our lives. Here are some key aspects of cultivating a Stoic perspective. Objective judgment. The Stoics believed that many of our problems stem not from the events themselves, but from our subjective judgments about those events. We tend to add layers of interpretation, evaluation, and emotional baggage to neutral occurrences, turning them into sources of distress. Example. You receive a critical email from your boss. The email itself is a neutral event. However, you might judge it as a personal attack, a sign that you're incompetent, or evidence that your boss dislikes you. These judgments are not inherent in the email. They are added by your own mind. By striving for objective judgment, we can see things more clearly, without the distortion of our emotions and biases. Focusing on the process. The Stoics distinguish between outcomes and processes. Outcomes are often outside our control. We can't always guarantee that we will achieve our goals, win the game, or receive the recognition we desire. However, the process, the actions we take, the effort we put in, the way we approach our endeavors, is largely within our control. Example. You are training for a marathon. You can't control whether you will win the race, as many factors beyond your control may influence the outcome. However, you can control your training regimen, your diet, your sleep, and your attitude. By focusing on the process, on doing your best, regardless of the outcome, you cultivate a sense of inner peace and satisfaction, seeing things from a cosmic perspective. The Stoics encouraged us to zoom out, to consider the vastness of the universe and the brevity of human life. This perspective can help us put our problems into context, to see them as relatively small and insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Example. You are feeling stressed about a minor setback at work. By taking a moment to contemplate the vastness of the cosmos, the billions of galaxies and stars, and the fleeting nature of your own existence, you might realize that this setback is not as catastrophic as it seems. Memento mori. Remember death. This Stoic practice involves contemplating our own mortality. It might seem morbid, but it's actually a powerful tool for focusing on what truly matters. When we remember that our time is limited, we are less likely to waste it on trivialities, on worrying about things we can't control, and more likely to prioritize living a virtuous and meaningful life. Example. By reflecting on the fact that you will not live forever, you might be inspired to let go of grudges, to forgive others, to pursue your passions, and to make the most of the time you have. Amor fati. Love of fate. This Stoic concept encourages us to not only accept what happens to us, but to embrace it, to see it as part of the natural order of things, and to find value in it. It's about saying yes to life, with all its joys and sorrows, its triumphs and setbacks. Example. You experience a painful loss. Instead of resisting the pain, wishing things were different, and dwelling on the unfairness of it all, you can choose to accept it, to learn from it, to grow from it, and to see it as an integral part of your life's journey. By cultivating these perspectives, we can transform our experience of the dichotomy of control. We can move from being reactive victims of circumstance to being proactive agents of our own lives. We can find peace and strength in the face of adversity, and we can live with greater wisdom, resilience, and joy. 6. Applying the dichotomy of control to modern life. Navigating the complexities. The dichotomy of control is not just an abstract philosophical concept. It's a practical tool that can be applied to virtually every aspect of modern life. In a world that often feels chaotic, overwhelming, and unpredictable, the ability to distinguish between what we can and cannot control is more important than ever. Let's explore how this principle can be applied to some common challenges and situations we face today. Work and career. The workplace can be a major source of stress and anxiety. We often feel pressure to perform, to meet deadlines, to please our bosses and colleagues, and to advance our careers. The dichotomy of control can help us navigate these challenges with greater clarity and effectiveness. Controllable. We can control our work ethic, our effort, our skills, our attitude, our preparation, our communication, and our willingness to learn and improve. We can choose to be diligent, responsible, and proactive. We can focus on doing our best work, regardless of external recognition or rewards. Uncontrollable. We cannot control our boss's decisions, our colleagues' behavior, the company's policies, the economy, or whether we get a promotion. We cannot force others to appreciate our work or to give us the opportunities we desire. Application. If you are passed over for a promotion, you can choose to focus on what you can control, your performance, your skills, your networking, rather than dwelling on what you cannot control, your boss's decision. You can use the experience as an opportunity to learn and grow, and to take steps to improve your chances of success in the future. Relationships. Relationships are a vital part of our lives, but they can also be a source of conflict and heartache. Whether it's with our partners, our family members, our friends, or our colleagues, we often struggle to navigate the complexities of human interaction. The dichotomy of control can help us cultivate healthier and more fulfilling relationships. Controllable. We can control our own behavior, our communication, our empathy, our compassion, our willingness to forgive, and our effort to be a good partner, friend, or family member. We can choose to be kind, respectful, and supportive. Uncontrollable. We cannot control other people's feelings, their thoughts, their actions, their opinions, or their choices. We cannot force them to love us, to agree with us, or to behave in a certain way. Application. If you're experiencing conflict with a loved one, you can choose to focus on what you can control: your own communication, your willingness to listen, your effort to understand their perspective, rather than trying to control their feelings or their behavior. You can strive to be a good partner, regardless of their response. Challenges and setbacks. Life is full of challenges and setbacks. We will inevitably face obstacles, failures, and disappointments. The dichotomy of control can help us navigate these difficult times with greater resilience and equanimity. Controllable. We can control our response to challenges, our attitude, our effort, our perseverance, our willingness to learn from our mistakes, and our ability to adapt and move forward. We can choose to see setbacks as opportunities for growth. Uncontrollable. We cannot control the fact that challenges will occur, the nature of those challenges, the circumstances surrounding them, or the actions of others that may contribute to them. Application. If you lose a job, you can choose to focus on what you can control: your job search, your skills development, your networking, your attitude, rather than dwelling on what you cannot control: the economy, the company's decision, the unfairness of the situation. You can use the experience as an opportunity to reassess your career goals and find a better fit. Personal growth. We all strive to grow as individuals, to improve ourselves, and to reach our full potential. The dichotomy of control can help us focus our efforts on the areas where we can make the most meaningful progress. Controllable. We can control our effort, our learning, our practice, our discipline, our self-awareness, our willingness to step outside our comfort zone, and our commitment to our values. Uncontrollable. We cannot control our natural talents, our past experiences, our upbringing, or the opportunities that come our way. Application. If you want to become a better public speaker, you can focus on what you can control: your preparation, your practice, your feedback, your mindset, rather than dwelling on what you cannot control: your natural talent, your past experiences, the audience's reaction. You can strive to improve, regardless of your starting point. Goal setting. Setting goals is essential for achieving success and living a purposeful life. The dichotomy of control can help us set realistic goals and avoid becoming overly attached to outcomes that are beyond our control. Controllable. We can control the goals we set, the actions we take to achieve them, the effort we put in, the strategies we use, and our commitment to the process. Uncontrollable. We cannot control whether we will ultimately achieve our goals, as many factors beyond our control may come into play, such as luck, timing, and the actions of others. Application. When setting a goal such as writing a book, you can focus on what you can control: your writing schedule, your research, your effort, your commitment, rather than dwelling on what you cannot control: whether it will become a bestseller, whether it will be critically acclaimed, whether it will be published. You can strive to write the best book you can, regardless of the outcome. Decision-making. Life is a series of decisions, both big and small. The dichotomy of control helps us make wiser choices by focusing on the factors we can influence. Controllable. We can control the information we gather, the analysis we conduct, the advice we seek, the values we prioritize, and the reasoning process we employ. Uncontrollable. We cannot control the future consequences of our decisions with absolute certainty, the actions of others that may affect the outcome, or unforeseen events. Application. When deciding whether to take a new job, you can control your research about the company, your assessment of the job description, your evaluation of the salary and benefits, and your alignment with the company's values. You cannot, however, control whether the company will thrive in the long run or whether you will ultimately enjoy the work. Anxiety and stress. Anxiety and stress often stem from worrying about things we cannot control. The dichotomy of control offers a powerful framework for managing these emotions. Controllable. We can control our thoughts about the future, our reactions to uncertainty, our self-care practices, sleep, exercise, diet, and our use of coping mechanisms like meditation or deep breathing. Uncontrollable. We cannot control the uncertainty of the future, the possibility of negative events occurring, or the actions of others that may cause us stress. Application. If you're feeling anxious about an upcoming presentation, you can control your preparation, your practice, your mindset, focusing on delivering your best, not on the audience's reaction, and your breathing techniques. You cannot control whether you'll be nervous or how the audience will receive your presentation. Social media. Social media can be a significant source of anxiety, comparison, and feelings of inadequacy. The dichotomy of control can help us use it in a healthier and more mindful way. Controllable. We can control how much time we spend on social media, what content we consume when we follow what we post, and how we respond to comments and interactions. We can choose to use it as a tool for connection and learning, rather than a source of validation or comparison. Uncontrollable. We cannot control what other people post, how they portray themselves, how they react to our posts, or the algorithms that determine what we see. Application. You can choose to limit your time on social media, unfollow accounts that make you feel inadequate. Focus on posting authentic content that reflects your values, and avoid getting into arguments or seeking validation from others' opinions. By applying the dichotomy of control to these and other areas of modern life, we can cultivate greater resilience, reduce stress, improve our relationships, make wiser decisions, and live with greater purpose and fulfillment. It's a tool that empowers us to navigate the complexities of our world with greater clarity, wisdom, and inner peace. 7. Overcoming obstacles and challenges. Staying course. The dichotomy of control is a powerful concept, but applying it consistently in our lives can be challenging. We often encounter obstacles and face situations that test our resolve. It's important to be aware of these challenges and develop strategies for overcoming them. Here are some common obstacles and how to address them. Habitual thinking. We often fall into patterns of thinking that are counterproductive, such as worrying about the uncontrollable or dwelling on the past. These habits can be difficult to break, even when we intellectually understand the dichotomy of control. Solution. Practice self-awareness. Pay attention to your thoughts and identify when you are focusing on the uncontrollable. When you notice this happening, consciously redirect your attention to what you can control. Use techniques like mindfulness, meditation, or journaling to cultivate this awareness. Emotional reactions. It's natural to have emotional reactions to events, even when we know they are outside our control. We might feel anger, frustration, sadness, or fear. These emotions can cloud our judgment and make it difficult to apply the dichotomy of control. Solution. Acknowledge your emotions without judgment. It's okay to feel them. However, don't let them control your actions. Take a deep breath, step back from the situation, and remind yourself of the dichotomy of control. Focus on what you can do, even when you're feeling emotional. The illusion of control. Sometimes we mistakenly believe that we have more control over a situation than we actually do. This can lead to frustration and disappointment when things don't go as planned. Solution. Regularly examine your assumptions and beliefs about what you can and cannot control. Be honest with yourself about the limits of your influence. Remember that even when you can influence a situation, you rarely have complete control over the outcome. The desire for certainty. We often crave certainty and predictability. The dichotomy of control, with its emphasis on accepting the uncontrollable, can feel uncomfortable or even threatening. Solution. Embrace uncertainty as a natural part of life. Recognize that the future is always uncertain, and that trying to control it is a futile exercise. Focus on the present moment and on taking the actions that are within your control, regardless of the outcome. External pressure. We often face pressure from others to try to control things that are outside our control. For example, we might feel pressure to change someone else's behavior or to achieve a specific outcome. Solution. Be clear about your own boundaries and priorities. Don't let others dictate what you focus on. Politely but firmly explain the dichotomy of control to those who are pressuring you. And stay true to your own understanding of what you can and cannot control. Impatience. Applying the dichotomy of control is a process, not an event. It takes time and practice to cultivate a Stoic mindset. We might become impatient if we don't see immediate results. Solution. Be patient with yourself. Recognize that change takes time and effort. Celebrate small victories and focus on the progress you are making, rather than dwelling on how far you still have to go. Dealing with failure. Failure is an inevitable part of life, and it can be a significant challenge to the dichotomy of control. It's easy to get discouraged and focus on the uncontrollable aspects of failure, such as external circumstances or the actions of others. Solution. Reframe failure as a learning opportunity. Focus on what you can control. Your effort, your preparation, your analysis of what went wrong, and your determination to improve. Accept that failure is a part of the process and don't let it define you. By being aware of these obstacles and actively working to overcome them, we can strengthen our ability to apply the dichotomy of control consistently in our lives. It's a journey of continuous learning and refinement, and the rewards, greater peace, resilience, and freedom, are well worth the effort. 8. Cultivating inner peace and resilience. The fruits of Stoic practice. The dichotomy of control is not just a theoretical concept. It's a practical tool for cultivating inner peace, resilience, and emotional well-being. By focusing on what we can control and accepting what we cannot, we can transform our emotional landscape and experience life with greater equanimity and joy. Here's how. Reduce stress and anxiety. Much of our stress and anxiety stems from worrying about things we cannot control: the future, the past, other people's opinions, external events. By applying the dichotomy of control, we can free ourselves from these worries and cultivate a greater sense of calm and peace. Explanation. When you focus on what you can control, you eliminate the mental chatter and emotional turmoil that comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. You become more present, more grounded, and more at peace. Increased resilience. Life inevitably throws us curveballs. We will face challenges, setbacks, and disappointments. The dichotomy of control helps us develop resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity and to navigate difficult times with greater strength and composure. Explanation. When you understand that you cannot control external events, you are less likely to be shaken by them. You develop a sense of inner stability that allows you to weather the storms of life without being overwhelmed. Improved emotional regulation. The dichotomy of control helps us manage our emotions more effectively. We learn to respond to situations with reason and wisdom, rather than being driven by our impulses and emotions. Explanation. By focusing on what you can control, you gain greater control over your emotional responses. You become less reactive and more proactive, choosing how you want to feel and how you want to act, rather than being at the mercy of your emotions. Greater sense of agency. When we focus on what we can control, we empower ourselves. We recognize that we have the power to shape our own lives, to make choices that align with our values, and to take actions that contribute to our well-being. Explanation. You realize that your happiness and fulfillment are not dependent on external circumstances, but rather on your own internal state. This realization gives you a sense of agency, a feeling of being in control of your own destiny. Increased gratitude. The dichotomy of control encourages us to appreciate what we have and to focus on the good in our lives. When we stop wasting energy on what we lack or cannot control, we become more aware of the blessings we enjoy. Explanation. You learn to appreciate the things you can control: your health, your relationships, your abilities, your opportunities. This appreciation fosters gratitude, a feeling of thankfulness that enhances your overall well-being. Stronger relationships. By applying the dichotomy of control in our relationships, we can cultivate healthier and more fulfilling connections with others. We learn to accept people as they are, to focus on our own behavior, and to communicate more effectively. Explanation. You stop trying to control other people and start focusing on being a good partner, friend, or family member. This shift in perspective leads to greater understanding, empathy, and harmony in your relationships. Enhanced focus and productivity. When we stop worrying about things we cannot control, we free up mental energy that can be directed towards more productive activities. We become more focused, more efficient, and more effective in pursuing our goals. Explanation. You eliminate distractions and mental clutter, allowing you to concentrate on the tasks and priorities that truly matter. This increased focus leads to greater productivity and a sense of accomplishment. The dichotomy of control is closely connected to other Stoic principles and practices that contribute to inner peace and resilience. Mindfulness. Being present in the moment, paying attention to our thoughts and feelings without judgment, and accepting reality as it is. Mindfulness helps us apply the dichotomy of control by increasing our self-awareness and our ability to observe our reactions to events. Acceptance. Acknowledging reality as it is, without resistance or denial. Acceptance is essential for applying the dichotomy of control, as it allows us to let go of our desire to control the uncontrollable and to focus on what we can influence. Gratitude. Appreciating what we have and focusing on the good in our lives. Gratitude helps us apply the dichotomy of control by shifting our attention away from what we lack or cannot control and towards what we have and can appreciate. By cultivating these qualities and practices, we can embody the dichotomy of control not just as an intellectual concept, but as a lived experience. We can transform our lives from the inside out, cultivating a sense of inner peace, resilience, and joy that is not dependent on external circumstances. 9. The dichotomy of control and action. Real-life examples. The dichotomy of control is not just a theoretical concept. It's a principle that has been applied by countless individuals throughout history and in various walks of life. Here are some examples of people who have successfully applied the dichotomy of control to navigate challenges, achieve success, and cultivate inner peace. Marcus Aurelius. The Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher faced numerous challenges during his reign, including wars, plagues, and political intrigue. He applied the dichotomy of control to maintain his composure, focus on his duties, and rule with wisdom and virtue. He wrote extensively about the dichotomy of control in his Meditations, a personal journal filled with reflections on Stoic philosophy. Nelson Mandela. The anti-apartheid revolutionary and former president of South Africa spent 27 years in prison. He applied the dichotomy of control to maintain his dignity, focus on his goal of ending apartheid, and emerge from prison with a spirit of forgiveness and reconciliation. He controlled his attitude and actions, and refused to let his circumstances break his spirit. James Stockdale, U.S. Navy Vice Admiral and prisoner of war during the Vietnam War. Stockdale endured years of torture and deprivation. He applied the dichotomy of control to survive his ordeal, focusing on maintaining his integrity, supporting his fellow prisoners, and preserving his sanity. He famously said, "You must never confuse faith that you will prevail in the end, which you can never afford to lose, with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they might be, which you can never afford to ignore." Serena Williams. The tennis legend has faced numerous setbacks and challenges throughout her career, including injuries, losses, and controversies. She applies the dichotomy of control to maintain her focus, control her effort, and bounce back from adversity. She controls her training, her mindset, and her performance on the court, regardless of external factors. Oprah Winfrey. The media mogul and philanthropist overcame a difficult childhood and numerous obstacles to achieve extraordinary success. She applies the dichotomy of control to focus on her goals, control her work ethic, and use her platform to empower others. She controls her actions, her choices, and her responses to challenges, and uses her influence for good. Stephen Hawking, the renowned physicist, faced a debilitating illness, ALS, for most of his adult life. He applied the dichotomy of control to focus on his work, control his mind, and make groundbreaking contributions to science. Despite his physical limitations, he controlled his intellectual pursuits and his attitude, and refused to let his illness define him. Athletes at all levels use the dichotomy of control to manage pressure, focus on their performance, and bounce back from losses. They control their training, their effort, their mindset, and their response to setbacks. They cannot control the outcome of the game, the referee's calls, or the performance of their opponents. Entrepreneurs face constant uncertainty and challenges. They use the dichotomy of control to focus on their vision, control their actions, and adapt to changing circumstances. They control their business plans, their marketing efforts, and their responses to setbacks. They cannot control the economy, the competition, or the success of their ventures. Everyday people. The dichotomy of control is not just for famous or exceptional individuals. It's a principle that can be applied by anyone in their daily lives. People use it to manage stress at work, navigate difficult relationships, cope with illness, and pursue their goals with greater clarity and resilience. These examples demonstrate the power of the dichotomy of control to help people overcome adversity, achieve success, and cultivate inner peace. They show that it's not about denying reality or suppressing emotions, but about focusing our energy on what we can influence and accepting what we cannot. Practical exercises and techniques. Putting Stoicism into action. The dichotomy of control is not just a theory to be understood. It's a practice to be lived. To truly integrate it into your life, you need to engage in regular exercises and techniques that help you cultivate a Stoic mindset. Here are some practical ways to put the dichotomy of control into action. Daily reflection. Take a few minutes each day to reflect on the events that occurred and categorize them as either within your control or outside your control. This practice helps you develop awareness of where you are focusing your energy. Example. At the end of the day, write down 3 things that happened. For each one, note whether it was within your control, your reaction, your effort, or outside your control, someone else's actions, the weather. The what can I do? Question. Whenever you face a challenge or a setback, ask yourself, what can I do? This question immediately shifts your focus from the uncontrollable, the problem, to the controllable, your actions. Example. You miss a deadline at work. Instead of dwelling on the reasons why, which may be outside your control, ask yourself, what can I do now? Communicate with your boss. Create a new plan. Learn from the experience. Negative visualization. Premeditation malorum, this Stoic technique involves imagining potential negative events that could occur in the future. By mentally preparing yourself for adversity, you can reduce your fear and anxiety and strengthen your resilience. Example. Before a trip, imagine potential travel delays or lost luggage. This prepares you mentally. So if these things happen, you're less likely to be upset and more likely to focus on what you can control, finding alternative arrangements, staying calm. Journaling. Keep a journal to explore your thoughts and feelings and to apply the dichotomy of control to specific situations. Writing can help you gain clarity, identify patterns, and develop a more Stoic perspective. Journaling prompts. What situations today caused me the most stress? Were these things within my control? How did I react to events outside my control? Could I have reacted differently? What are my core values? And how can I align my actions with them? Regardless of the circumstances. Mindfulness meditation. Practice mindfulness meditation to cultivate present moment awareness and observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. This practice helps you detach from your worries about the uncontrollable and focus on what you can control in the present. Technique. Sit quietly and focus on your breath. When your mind wanders, as it inevitably will, Gently redirect your attention back to your breath. Observe your thoughts and emotions without getting carried away by them. Role-playing. Practice applying the dichotomy of control in simulated scenarios. This can help you develop your ability to respond to challenging situations with a Stoic mindset. Example. Imagine a scenario where you are criticized unfairly at work. Role-play how you would respond, focusing on what you can control, your communication, your composure, and accepting what you cannot, the other person's opinion. Stoic reminders. Use visual or verbal reminders to keep the dichotomy of control top of mind throughout the day. This can help you stay focused on what you can control and avoid getting caught up in worries about the uncontrollable. Examples. Write the phrase, "control your response," on a sticky note and place it on your computer monitor. Set a daily reminder on your phone to reflect on the dichotomy of control. Memorize a Stoic quote, such as Epictetus' famous saying, "Some things are in our control, while others are not." Cognitive restructuring. This technique, borrowed from cognitive behavioral therapy (CBT), involves identifying and challenging negative or distorted thought patterns. Technique. When you notice a thought that causes you distress, e.g., "I'm going to fail this project," ask yourself, is there evidence to support this thought? What are the alternative interpretations of the situation? What is the worst-case scenario? How likely is it? What can I do to cope if the worst-case scenario happens? How would someone else view this situation? By consistently practicing these exercises and techniques, you can gradually internalize the dichotomy of control and make it a natural part of your thinking and behavior. It's a journey of continuous learning and refinement, and the rewards, greater peace, resilience, and freedom, are well worth the effort. 11. The long-term benefits of the dichotomy of control. A life transformed. The dichotomy of control is not a quick fix or a temporary solution. It's a fundamental principle that, when consistently applied, can lead to profound and lasting transformation in your life. Here are some of the long-term benefits of embracing this Stoic wisdom. Sustained inner peace. By consistently focusing on what you can control and accepting what you cannot, you cultivate a deep and abiding sense of inner peace that is not dependent on external circumstances. This peace becomes a stable foundation for your life, allowing you to navigate challenges with greater equanimity and joy. Increased emotional resilience. Over time, applying the dichotomy of control strengthens your emotional resilience, your ability to bounce back from adversity. You become less reactive, less easily shaken by setbacks, and more capable of weathering the storms of life with grace and composure. Greater personal power. When you focus on what you can control, you empower yourself. You realize that you have the agency to shape your own life, to make choices that align with your values, and to take actions that contribute to your well-being. This sense of personal power leads to greater confidence, self-esteem, and a feeling of being in control of your own destiny. Improved relationships. The dichotomy of control fosters healthier and more fulfilling relationships. You learn to accept people as they are, to focus on your own behavior, and to communicate more effectively. This leads to greater understanding, empathy, and harmony in your interactions with others. Enhanced productivity and effectiveness. By eliminating the mental clutter and emotional turmoil that comes from worrying about the uncontrollable, you free up mental energy that can be directed towards more productive activities. You become more focused, more efficient, and more effective in pursuing your goals. Increased gratitude and appreciation. The dichotomy of control encourages you to appreciate what you have and to focus on the good in your life. This cultivates a sense of gratitude, a feeling of thankfulness that enhances your overall well-being and allows you to experience greater joy and contentment. A life of purpose and meaning. By aligning your actions with your values and focusing on what truly matters, you cultivate a life of purpose and meaning. You move beyond the pursuit of fleeting pleasures and external validation, and you discover a deeper sense of fulfillment that comes from living in accordance with your own inner compass. Freedom from external control. The dichotomy of control frees you from the tyranny of external circumstances. You become less dependent on the opinions of others, the approval of society, or the whims of fate. You gain a sense of inner freedom, knowing that your happiness and well-being are not determined by what happens to you, but by how you choose to respond. In essence, the dichotomy of control offers a pathway to a life transformed, a life characterized by inner peace, resilience, purpose, and freedom. It's a journey of continuous growth and self-discovery, and the rewards are immeasurable. 12. Conclusion. Embrace the dichotomy. Transform your life. We've journeyed through the core of Stoic philosophy, exploring the profound wisdom of the dichotomy of control. We've seen how this simple yet powerful concept can transform our perspective, reshape our emotional landscape, and empower us to navigate the complexities of modern life with greater clarity, resilience, and inner peace. Remember the image we began with: the unexpected detour on your meticulously planned road trip. That detour, that moment of frustration and uncertainty, represents the countless challenges and setbacks we all encounter on our own life's journey. It's a reminder that life is unpredictable, that things rarely go exactly as planned, and that we often find ourselves facing situations that are beyond our control. But it's also a reminder that we always have a choice. We can choose to succumb to the frustration, to let the uncontrollable events dictate our emotions and actions, to allow ourselves to be tossed about by the whims of fate. Or we can choose to embrace the dichotomy of control, to accept the things we cannot change, and to focus our energy and attention on the things we can. We can choose to see the detour not as a disaster, but as an opportunity, a chance to explore a new path, to discover hidden treasures, to learn and grow in unexpected ways. We can choose to respond with equanimity, with courage, and with a sense of adventure, knowing that even in the midst of chaos, we have the power to shape our own experience. The dichotomy of control is not a magic wand that will instantly solve all our problems or eliminate all our suffering. It's not a philosophy of passive acceptance or emotionless indifference. Rather, it's a call to action, a guide for living, a framework for cultivating a life of greater wisdom, resilience, and joy. It's about recognizing that while we can't control everything that happens to us, we can always control how we respond. We can control our thoughts, our judgments, our values, our choices, and our actions. We can choose to live in accordance with our own inner compass, to align our lives with our principles, and to strive for virtue, regardless of the circumstances. It's about understanding that our happiness and well-being are not dependent on external events, but rather on our own internal state. It's about finding freedom not in controlling the world around us, but in controlling ourselves. It's about cultivating a sense of inner peace that is not shaken by the storms of life, a resilience that allows us to bounce back from adversity, and a joy that springs from living a life of purpose and meaning. So I urge you, embrace the dichotomy of control. Make it not just a concept you understand, but a principle you live by. Practice it daily, in every situation, big and small. Reflect on it, journal about it, and discuss it with others. Let it guide your decisions, shape your actions, and transform your life. The journey won't always be easy. You'll face challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. You'll fall back into old habits, and you'll struggle to let go of the desire to control the uncontrollable. But with patience, persistence, and a commitment to growth, you can gradually internalize this wisdom and make it a natural part of your being. And as you do, you'll discover the transformative power of the dichotomy of control. You'll experience a greater sense of inner peace, a deeper resilience in the face of adversity, and a more profound joy in living. You'll find yourself navigating life's detours with greater grace, wisdom, and equanimity. You'll become the master of your own destiny, the captain of your own soul, and you'll live a life that is truly your own, a life of purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. The dichotomy of control is not just a philosophy. It's a key to unlocking your full potential and living a life of true freedom. Embrace it and transform your life. The journey starts now.